Modern gaming is dying. Yes, thank you, Matty, for your deep, inspiring, proverbial knowledge that you are choosing to share with us. I would have never figured this out on my own, especially not with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League happening, Unknown 9 happening, Dustborn happening, Concord happening, Dragon Age Railguard happening, and just yesterday, Avowed happening. You know, I'm just being real, okay? I would have never seen this conclusion on my own.
Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today with a video that I just feel is important. Like, I feel like we need to talk about this. The most common thing
I also feel things in which to express myself. Very cool.
see in my comments on Twitter, wherever it may be, is just that modern gaming sucks. Modern gaming is dead. We could be doing so much better, but it blows right now. I'm gonna go play some old stuff, and I'll catch you later. And I'm not buying any game day one. And I think where we're at right now, that's a fair take to have. A lot of modern games have underdelivered when they should have completely blown us away. And it's been a challenge, right? There have been companies that I've covered
Hey, I would also be scared to interact with someone with that much mental disorder
extensively on this channel that have never missed for me. And just, you know, when I see their name on the box, I'm like, here we go. This is going to be peak. And when the game arrives and I do my review, I'm like, wow, this is not up to the quality standards I expect. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but with us already knowing where we're at in a lot of ways, I wanted to talk about maintaining that passion for gaming, because when I see people losing their love for gaming, obviously
Is this an ad? This almost seems like an intro to an ad, but it doesn't look like an ad.
Not going to be weird and like force it, but when I see it as someone who adores gaming so much and how much it's transformed my life, like the way I think, the beliefs I have, etc., like it's such a powerful.
And you know what else transformed my life? HelloFresh, the premier American brand for food delivered right to your doorstep. It's 5 times more expensive than anything you can buy in the supermarket and 50 times less healthy. Have fun, you lazy shit.
Art. It makes me sad when I see people who hate gaming or don't get gaming, for example. And I just thought this video was really important to make. It just kind of spoke to my heart a bit. So I'm just going to ramble a bit, if you don't mind. I don't even have notes here next to me. I'm just going to talk off the dome about things that help me maintain my passion for gaming. I think the first step is just getting offline. Like, I used to use Twitter a lot. I don't anymore. I used to be on social media a lot. I just like to use my YouTube channel as the place I talk with all of you and connect with all of you. For me, I feel like social media has just gotten increasingly more toxic, and the conversation around games oftentimes sucks. And like, even if like I lose on views, like even if you just stop watching me, like I think that's for the greater good. Like, I think a lot of times my enjoyment comes from disconnecting from like what other people are telling me how to feel and just going and enjoying my thing on my own. That's kind of where I started with this video, because I was thinking a bit about Avowed and how, for me as a reviewer, like I try to cover every major release that I can, and sometimes
I was thinking about how great Avowed is and how everyone who likes Avowed is diagnosed with below average IQ and mental capacities. So I kind of choose to ignore that because obviously
the smaller AA stuff and the indie stuff, but when it came to Avowed, like we're at a point now in the industry where a game getting an 80 open critic, being called, in my case, good, just not as great as prior.
Player rating is visible. Oh, after 20 ratings. I thought this is like 0 out of 20. Jesus. Oh my god, look at that. The critics recommend something that forces you to establish trans identities. Who would have expected? My god.
Super RPGs from Obsidian is like a laughingstock to a lot of people. And I think you can feel that way, and a lot of gamers internalize that and go like, I have to be defensive of the thing I love now. And I think a lot of those emotions don't come out if you just back up for a little bit, take a breath, enjoy your thing, and arrive with a fresher head. That's one way that, as someone who is literally sometimes at the epicenter of conversations, I stay passionate about games. It's just continuing to do it. Like, yeah, it's my job, but doing it for me. Like, that's how this whole thing started. Like, I grew up just adoring video games.
I think this is pretty disingenuous, honestly, because he is implying that people who critique bad games are somehow not passionate about gaming, which this is clearly just false. This is some kind of strange self-reflection at best here. Okay, people who talk bad about games are passionate about games not being shit. Okay, the old listen. People are gonna give you shit constantly if you don't point it out. That is just the way of the world. If you are willing to accept anything as bad as it is and reward the people who give it to you, then those people have no reason to stop. Those people have no reason to improve. So the people who are critical of games and call most games shit, because most games are shit now at today, that's just the truth of it, are probably even more for making better games and a better future for gaming than the people who are constantly toxic positive about this stuff.
And I know if I lose touch of that, then what makes all of this go around? If I don't like games, if I don't like firing up my Xbox or my PlayStation or my Switch or my PC, if it's...
I mean, the fact that he's showing an Xbox 360 instead of the new one kind of just blatantly throws away the point he's making. Because he can't even show a modern day title that is good.
Agonizing for me. Like, I can't imagine a world like that, but certainly if you do enough of something and you engage with like the parts of it that just are sometimes a tough pill to swallow. Like, I think the conversation that we're having right now about modern gaming is important and should be heard, but do you need to consume it every day? No, probably not. Probably not. So yeah, just the occasional disconnect is good. You know, dare I say, go outside.
No one's forcing anyone to consume anything. It's as simple as, oh, you see my video, you don't want to watch it? Well, you do this magical thing called not watching it. Watch it later, don't watch it at all, it's all up to you, okay? I'm not gonna chop off your hand because you don't watch my video. I'll chop off your dick, though.
Outside and touch grass, but who the hell wants to do that anyway? Go out and like watch a movie or read a book or something, and you'll come back in games. So just something in your brain flips, maybe a dopamine cycle breaks, I don't know, but you just come back and I'm like, this is hitting different all of a sudden. Like, just switching up the hobbies a little bit helps me a bit too. The other thing that I got to say is really big for me is what I do on Retro Rebound. When I started that channel, just because, again, this is my job, I need to make it clear. Like, I did not start that as a, you know, let me make some money. You know,
the place where nostalgia blends with modernism, aka where everything goes to die.
How can I increase my income? It was literally just like, I remember talking to Lockmore and Jimmy Champagne. I remember talking to them both because they helped me launch that channel and going like, I just want something that I can talk about old games on because I love collecting games, as you can see behind me, and I want a place I can talk about them. Now, the question people kind of ask sometimes is like, well, why not just talk about it here? The reality is that you have different audiences for different things. So for me, I've tried those things many a times. You'll go ahead and look at the library of content we have here, like Humanity's Worst Games, RPG Time Machine, just random re-reviews we do. And some of them hit, some of them most of the time did not. And that's okay because now we have a channel that's pushing on 250,000 subscribers that does like that sort of thing. And we get to talk about everything from like Final Fantasy 15 to Spider-Man 3. And it's amazing. But point being is that sort of balance.
Yep, that's pretty much all there is to talk about. Everything else kind of like mediocre trash, though.
Has been huge for me. It's also been sobering because right now I'm seeing a lot of the industry kind of approach games with rose-tinted glasses, as in today's games cannot stack up to what we once got. And in many ways, again, as someone who is playing these old games pretty regularly, this is very true. There was a secret sauce to old games back then. And I think the push toward fidelity and away from like art style has hurt a lot of what those older games could do. And it feels like a bit of a mixed bag. But also, I think these older games are just important to kind of reconnect with your tastes. And sometimes these older games will shake you awake a little bit. Because
bro, who the hell is picking Fallout 3? Fallout 4 is literally better than 3, okay? Fight me.
You'll be like, oh, I know this thing is perfect. And when you play it, you learn a bit more about your tastes and the things that maybe weren't so great about it that you forgot about. For me, though, playing older games, like I always have one in the cycle. Like for me, I was just in a review gauntlet, if you will. I was doing a little bit of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I was doing a little bit of Avowed. Those experiences combined for like 80 hours. I did a South of Midnight preview and so on, plus Retro Rebound coverage, like easily over 100 hours of gaming in like a couple of weeks, right? And so
yeah, and easily roughly 70 hours of chilling. That is a sad life.
You got to kind of balance that out. And so the Retro Rebound side of things really has helped me because it's just going back to the thing like KOTOR.
Why? You need to ask him why. Okay? This is literally an admission that he knows and he does not actually believe most of the things he says. Like Avowed. Oh, pretty good. Maybe a bug here or there, but pretty good. You know, obviously this is a fucking lie. Obviously. Everyone knows it's a lie. Everyone knows that Dragon Age Railguard was not even worth your money in the first place. They should have paid you to even look at the game in the first place. Still called it whatever, somewhat okay? And then he just makes a channel that he actually has to talk about games like this. This is great! This is Star Wars The Old Republic. I don't remember, honestly, the name of it even, but I played this when I was, like, 11 or something. Great fucking game. Absolutely loved it. My friends played it. I played it. It was awesome. Okay? And this is where he doesn't have to lie. From a channel full of lies, you're moving to a channel that you don't have to lie. Obviously, you're gonna kind of like the channel that you're not forced to lie about your experiences a lot. It's just human stuff.
KOTOR is like a warm blanket for me. Like, find your warm blanket game that you can just wrap yourself up in and just be like, I know I'm going to love this thing. It's not always about, like I just depicted earlier, challenging yourself. Sometimes it's just like, give yourself something you want. You don't always got to make it a risk reward play. Like, go to something you do like. I think the only problem is sometimes, like, I have friends who just love, like, particular things. And I'm like, if you just open your taste a little bit. And hey, guilty as charged. That's what I'm learning. Again, going back to, like, your old reliables. For me, it was always like Bethesda, BioWare, Obsidian. And I will still always be checking their games out as long as those companies are in business because of just how long I've spent covering them and just how much of a fan I've been of them and continue to be of them in certain ways. But what I've really found myself looking at is indies and trying genres that maybe I left behind for a long time. Like, for example, I'm a huge Danganronpa fan. This is not really talking indie per se, but I love Danganronpa, right? But there's a lot of visual novels I left unexplored. So, like, I tried out, this is kind of a visual novel experience, Mouthwashing. That was great. I bought 1,000 Times Resist. That was awesome game. And I just wouldn't have tried these things if I didn't go down this rabbit hole of, like, this genre that I explored in, like, my college years and then kind of just left behind. I tried Slay the Princess. That one didn't vibe with me too much. I might give it a second chance later on, but it led me down this rabbit hole that I think we can easily go down. The benefit of today's video game landscape, I think, is that while it's a little bit of a mixed bag, you have so many points of entry that are cheaper. So you can jump into a Game Pass, a Humble Bundle, a PS Plus. Like, PS Plus catalog has class.
I don't know what PS Plus is, but it sounds like another scam, like the classic Xbox Game Pass again. Listen. How many times will I have to repeat this? Do you think a company like Xbox that wants to make money is gonna reduce the money that they make by giving you Game Pass that's supposed to be good for the consumer? Would they do that? Would they take a hit for you? Do you think Xbox is gonna give up on their money so you, the consumer, can have a better experience? No, of course fucking not. So the fact that some people are claiming the Game Pass is good for gamers, no, it's not true. It's not true. And Game Pass is intended for people to use a year, 2 years, and that's where they make their money. You just get sucked in, and after that point, you're losing. You're losing. And you think you're winning, which is the worst part of it.
Classics. So you can get your old games there as well as your modern ones. They're doing more day one stuff there. Like, there's just so many different places that you can grab a game from and try it out. And for me, that has been the challenge, is trying to just break out of my mold that I've set for myself. Like, I am the RPG guy. I love RPGs. But really what I'm learning here in my young adulthood is, like, JRPGs have been the constant for me.
Young adulthood? Isn't motherfucker 30 already or something?
You know, I have always loved JRPGs, and that has not wavered in my young adulthood. In fact, it's only gotten stronger because JRPGs are more thematic.
Also, am I the only one who's kind of cringing at the concept of young adulthood? I mean, it's either you're an adult or you're not.
Driven, I feel. The way that, you know, a metaphor is built. And obviously, Metaphor is a commentary on many things, from politics to fantasy being real and so on and so forth. And because of that, it's a work of art. The
Fantasy being real is not a commentary on anything.
medium has evolved.
A commentary needs to be on something that exists, not. What the fuck are you doing, Maddie? Like,
And so, sticking with Avowed a little bit, that's a game I called good, not great. But if you read the comment section or any tweets attached to that review, it's like I called it just the worst thing ever. The medium has evolved in such a way that good is not good enough anymore. And it's a little strange for me because I feel like the 7 out of 10 games inform me so much on my taste, but I don't try to apply that school of thought to like people who just want to fire up their Xbox or their PlayStation and play something. Like, I don't think they're looking at it that way. Maybe they are, but that's a school of thought I take with it because I think a lot of my job is based around knowing my taste very well and knowing what parts of games click very well and don't, so I know when my biases are kicking in or not, versus someone who just wants to like turn on their Xbox and be like, what should I play, bro? But we're in such an interesting era where like a 7 out of 10, or in the case of Avowed, like this 80 open critic score game is just kind of getting mocked online for just being like a decent game. And I feel
wait, who the hell is calling Avowed a decent game at this point? Most people are not.
like these types of releases are important because it's very informative of like taste, but also like the interesting thing about
Avowed is as much your run-of-the-mill shit as you can honestly get anything to be. It is quite saddening in reality how run-of-the-mill shit this is, because run-of-the-mill is not acceptable anymore, okay? Our standards are way higher, and our standards, honestly, could be even higher than they already are.
like a risky 7 out of 10. I don't think Avowed is risky, by the way, but generally speaking, a risky 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 game is it might be like,
Okay, so now Avowed is a risky game because it's a risky 7 out of 10, but I don't think it's actually risky. Okay, got it.
the best damn thing you play because it does end up scratching particular itches and taking risks that other games that are shooting for the moon and trying to be
What risks is Avowed taking? I'm pretty sure Avowed literally takes 0 risks in anything it does. I'm confused now.
broadly appealing just never will do. And so I just can't stand certain games that kind of lie in the middle and try to appeal to everyone. I think that is what's lost in modern gaming. Back then, when gaming wasn't such like a high budget, high risk, high reward kind of thing, what you'd get are developers saying like, screw it, let's go make this. Like, let's take the RE engine and make a samurai game with it. And then all of a sudden you get Onimusha. Like, that thing just kind of happened. And obviously it cost money and there was still some sort of assessment of the risk there, but definitely it wasn't like today's craterings where we talked about WB Games where they're $400 million in the hole between Wonder Woman, Multiverses, and Suicide Squad. Like, it's a whole different ball game. But the other thing to get into is that I think what has hurt us as gamers most is the realization of this. During that kind of stretch of watching gaming grow, particularly leading into COVID, you know, we watched gaming evolve before our very eyes.
Imagine you have the green Latin ring, and this is literally the best you can do. You make some kind of rocket launching system that has, I don't even know, like 50 rockets or something like that. But the best you can do is like fire one every 10 seconds. I mean, I would, you know, I would construct a hole in my fucking head if I was that dumb.
We watched gaming evolve before our very eyes from this little hobby that, hell, many of us got teased for even engaging in, to now this global phenomenon that's like the #1 revenue driver in the entertainment industry, right? Because it's making so much money, what's happening is it's becoming way more corporate. You want to invest more because it's time to get big bucks. There's more money in gaming.
I mean, this is not just happening now. This has been happening for many years, honestly.
Than ever before.
This happened even before Bobby Kotick took over Blizzard. Bobby! The original N-word, my man!
And the problem ends up being for a lot of companies greed. Like, you can step in and make a tiny little game and make a lot of money off of it. But the question is, how much is enough? And I think for a lot of companies, it's never enough. And that is the problem that they get into, which I think some people.
No, companies have a limit. Companies do have enough. The problem is when you're on the open market, then there is no such thing as enough. You always need that line going up, 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 and slowly up. If it doesn't, well, congratulations, you lost your job, you lost your bonus, you lost that secretary you hired just to Google your eyes on. Not great. It is what it is. Anyway, that was Mr. Matty Plays 10 out of 10. Bye.